All right. I'm excited. We're doing something really special for this video because we are going to be playing through part of Sonic Advance 2. However, this is not the original game. This is a fan-made mod that allows for widescreen support. You can check this out as well. It's not finished yet. I want to make that very clear. There are some areas, specifically in menus, where things look a little wonky, but they still function as you would expect, and they are 100% complete, so you can play Amy right off the bat if you want to, because the conditions for playing as Amy in this game are abysmal in the original version. So let's go ahead and start out with our blue boy himself, and of course that first level. Where's better to begin than the beginning, right? So we're going to go ahead and go with this. Game plays as you would expect if you're familiar with the game, with one exception. There has been a homing attack added, but it's been nerfed in a way that I can really respect, because it's easy, first off, to miss with the homing attack, which is quite nice. You have to use it strategically, and also the homing attack does not work when you are below an enemy. You have to actually be above it. Plus, you uncurl after using it, meaning you cannot chain homing attacks. That's pretty cool. So I think this game does benefit from having the homing attack just because of the sheer speed. This game is a game you either love or you hate. Maybe you're somewhere in between, but for a lot of people, it's both. If you're not familiar with the other things you can do in this game, though, there are tricks you can do by pressing R and holding the D-pad in the direction you want to go, or pressing R by itself to just go backwards as the default, which is pretty cool. And as Sonic or Amy, when you jump off of rails that terminate in midair, you get an extra high jump off it. Sonic wants to show off. That's a good way to get some extra mobility and some extra exploration out of Sonic specifically, and out of Amy, because they can't fly, they can't climb, so they gotta do something, right, to stand out. So yeah, as long as the rail terminates in midair, that's when you can do it. You can jump off of ramps. That's in the original game as well, though it's not something I use as much as I probably should. And yeah, you can do tricks off of various different gimmicks in the levels. Not everything, of course. If it curls you in a ball, you usually can't do a trick from that. There are some enemies that also act as bouncers, as springs in this game too, which is quite cool. So go ahead and focus on this. If this is something you want to check out, I am running it on Windows through WSL, which is the Windows subsystem for Linux. Basically, it's just a way to run Linux directly on Windows. It runs through Ubuntu by default, right? But in general, there are a few hoops to jump through when you're trying to do this. So just make sure that that is something you have any sort of knowledge with, or follow the instructions as they're stated that come with this. With that said, though, because it's unfinished, obviously it's, you know, still a work in progress, so there are some areas where the game feels a little unpolished, which is completely understandable because it's going to continue receiving refinement, I'm sure, and it's still in active development as well. But also, just know when you're trying to download this that while the instructions that come with it are actually pretty easy to follow, I have no experience whatsoever when it comes to Linux, when it comes to working through a terminal or anything like that, and I was still able to do it pretty well. I only misunderstood one thing, so it wasn't even really an issue with the the install instructions themselves. So let's go ahead and focus back on this game. It looks gorgeous. There are some visual bugs, especially when it comes to vertical screen scrolling, some elements popping up like repeating vertically as well, but that's all fairly trivial stuff. And the game, you can play it through Sky Chase. Sky Chase does have one notable visual bug when you're playing it. It's very easy to ignore. I did, but you can play through the level, you can play through Technobase, you can play through Egg Utopia. The bosses on some of them, though, look a little bit wonky, specifically with Sky Canyon. I think I might have said Sky Chase on accident. You're getting this mixed up with regular Sonic 2, right? So yeah, we are going to be playing it through probably Ice Paradise. We'll take a look at Sky Canyon, but I'm not going to be playing through the level. And if my voice sounds a little crappy, because yeah, I am a little ill. It sucks, but you know, it's what happens, right? So working through that as well. Wish me well wishes, I guess, if you want to, down in the comments below. And let me know your thoughts too, because I am curious, specifically, if you are somebody who has played the Advanced series, which game is your favorite, or what about each game is your favorite aspect of it, right? Advance 1 kind of retreads what the original Genesis games do, so it doesn't do anything revolutionary on its own. where Advance 2 does introduce, well, the boost formula for one thing to Sonic. It's kind of crazy to see that it originated here, and honestly, I kind of think this is the best form for it. The boost mode in this game is controlled by the amount of rings you have. So if you have more rings, you enter boost mode faster, and you just enter it by running for a set period of time, or running over boost pads. That all works too. You can also get a boost off of these as well, if I can do it. Yeah, like that. So you get a faster run off the start. This game is very rewarding to speedrun, but it is notorious for its weird enemy placement and also just bottomless pits, especially towards the end of the game. There are quite a few of them, so it is harder to speedrun this game on something like GBA, but it's rewarding because if you memorize where those enemies are, where those bottomless pits are, then yeah, it can feel quite good to speedrun a game like this. I don't speedrun myself, but I think it wouldn't be terribly difficult to do it as long as you practice. And it's not a terribly long game either. There's 7 zones, 2 acts in each zone. Of course, then there is a boss rush. There is the final boss, of course. And so speedrunning that kind of stuff can feel really good, really satisfying as well. Get a little bit of a homing attack on that guy there. It is worth noting too, if I didn't mention it already, the homing attack can actually punish you in this game as well if you hit an enemy incorrectly, because some enemies are immune from like hits top down, but the homing attack almost always comes from top down, so you gotta be ready for it. It's also worth noting too, and this is in the original game as well, that the game looks like it caps out at 9 lives. That's actually not true, though. You can actually go over 9 lives. It just visually caps at 9. Once the game sees you at 9 lives, it basically thinks it's an arbitrary number at this point. You don't need to know how many you have. You have more than enough. So that works out pretty well. Usually I have 9 by Hot Crater, my personal favorite level in the game, by the way. First zone, specifically. I love the music. Had no right to go this hard. It sounds so good. And really, in general, this game, the aesthetic of it it's more refined from Advance 1. It feels very good. The art style is, of course, wonderful. The sprites look absolutely incredible for this game. I don't know if I've ever been in this direction. I'm going to go down here. Why not? And this is my favorite level for a few reasons outside of the speed you get in it. This game doesn't have a lot of unique gimmicks between levels. Most of the levels kind of repeat the same gimmicks just with a new coat of paint, which is fine. You know, it can feel good for a shorter game like this, but I could think it could make a game like this feel maybe like it outstays its welcome after a while, so I think you can totally understand that. So, and I shouldn't be going in boost there because the game actually punishes you for going in boost in that spot specifically, and most of the time no other place. Alright, let's go ahead and get on into this. So get that, well, I missed the high jump off there, no big deal. So yeah, outside of that though, I think Advance 3 is my favorite for what it brings to the series. It's the only game to actually have a partnering system that gives you like different movesets. It basically changes up how you play the game. And there's 20 total movesets you can basically choose from, because you choose your main character and then you choose your partner as well. And depending on who your partner is, your main character gets different abilities, your partner gets different abilities, and you get different shared abilities. Like, they went so hard on that game, and they really didn't have to, but I'm so glad that they did, because it just brings a lot of life to that game. Oh, I didn't mean a homing attack there, but that's alright. I was gonna miss that that barrel launcher anyway, no big deal. So, alright, let's get to the end of this level 2. But yeah, so once again, if this is something you want to check out, I will leave the link for the Discord, the GitHub repository here as well. They do have a Discord, and if you are somebody who is familiar with like coding in the C language or in ARM, if you want help with like cleaning up the files for this as well, they definitely are looking for some assistance with that. This game is almost complete. I don't have like a time frame, of course. Sonic Advance 1 though and Advance 3 are a little bit further behind than this. I think Advance 3 is like 25% or so complete. And yeah, so you can help out with all of the trilogy, which is fantastic because it is a trilogy that I think deserves to be remembered. I hit that right in my face. There's a lot of love that comes from these games and a lot of good fun that comes from these games as well. I think, yeah, there we go. I think I could hit him. I hit him. Cool. And they just greatly benefit. Like, when this game is in widescreen, it feels so good, you know? It feels like it can hold a candle to some of the classic games. I don't think it's as good as your Sonic 2 on Genesis. That game is so iconic, so that's a very high bar to pass. But I do think this game is probably better than, say, Sonic 1 on the Genesis, which is wild to say, the debut of this character and this franchise, right? But in general, I just think that if this series were to get like its own Sonic Advance Origins, you know, a trilogy of games all being able to be played in one place with just a little bit of refinement here and there. You know, Sonic Advance 3 is cool. It has its hub worlds, which are fun to go through like one time, and then after that they feel very clunky and it makes the game a lot harder to speedrun if that's something you want to do, or just get into it because you've got to go through the hub world over and over and over again. And yeah, there's a time attack you can do to skip the hub worlds, but like, that's not... It's just not good enough, you know? So, you can also do the homing attack to enemies like that act as springs, and they'll just bounce you around instead of actually killing the enemy or defeating the enemy, so that's pretty cool. Oh, probably could have, fine. Let's go this way. Could have gone through that, but it's no big deal. I actually don't know where that leads to, because I, like I said, don't speedrun this game, so I'm not familiar with... Oh, missed it. Alright, let's just collect some rings. Oh man, I'm doing terrible with these. There we go. Alright, let's get on up here. And I love this zone so much too. It's so original and it just looks phenomenal. Like, it's the gimmick zone for this game, you know, so it's your carnival night or your casino night, but for the Sonic Advance 2 game specifically. Advance 1 just did another casino theme level, which is fine, it works, it does what it needs to do, but it's not as original as something like this. I've always wanted to see like an art-themed level. I thought that would always be cool. You know, you've got Sonic Advance 3 with its Toy Kingdom. Oh my god, I'm terrible at this. Alright, let's bounce off of this then. I'm about to hit that. Yep, there we go. Go. There we go. Probably shouldn't even bounce off that little band there, but it's fine. No big deal. I missed those rings. Boom. Lame. Why not? Go down the bottom. And then hit a path that... Oh, that's cool. So it hits you this path on purpose. Neat. Cool, got him. I always run into that one. Fine. I don't know why... Anyway, silly things. I'm questioning myself for a moment. Why certain things are designed in the way they are. There we go. Get on this rail. Can't jump off that rail because it doesn't terminate in midair, so jump. Missed the jump off that ramp too. I'm doing terrible. I'm such a pro at this game. Just kidding. But yeah, it really is a lovely, lovely game. Sonic Advance 3 has its Toy Kingdom, which is a really cool gimmick zone, even if I think it's ultimately a little less inspired than this, because there's just so much. Like, this zone is so full of stuff. There's very few places until you get to the end of the zone that just feel empty, that feel like they have nothing going on, right? And the Toy Kingdom, there's definitely a lot more spacious zone design, but a lot less, I think, toy-related gimmicks, you know what I mean? Some of the badniks are kind of toy-inspired, but, you know, outside of that, it's not a whole lot. So, I'll go ahead and get down this hill here. And again, I apologize for my voice, because, yep, I am ill, it sucks, it's no good, but let me, give me well wishes, I guess, down in the comments, why not? I wanted to, see if I can get off of this one. There we go. Get some faster music going. And this whole game has great music, too. That's the other thing about Advance 1 I'm not a huge fan of. Like, the music's fine, but it's a lot slower, it's kind of jazzy, I guess, in its inspiration. I don't really know, and it's just... I don't know, it doesn't match, I guess, the speed that I want to go at. It doesn't match the... something. There's something about it. It's just like, oh, this is cool music, but it's not music I really want to come back to. This game has fantastic music. Advance 3 has fantastic music. Arguably, I think that one has the better music of the two, even though I think my favorite track from all of the Advance series is the Hot Crater track. It just sounds so good. And it, yeah, like I said, has no right to go as hard as it does. But Advance 3 has your Sunset Hill, which has a Green Hill Zone theme, but remixed 3 times. Like, we really get treated in that game. And it's cool because that game has 3 acts, so it's actually a larger game than this one and than any of the other Advance games is. But because it has 3 acts, you get 3 times the revamps of music. I don't know why I said revamp, you know what I mean. 3 times the remixes of music, and on most levels, at least early in the game, the 3rd act of each zone, it's remixed in a different part of the song, of the base song. So it always just sounds very like, I don't know, triumphant, I guess, in a way it's very hard for me to describe. So just lovely games. Normally I've beaten this level by now, but not today. All right, let's go ahead and get through this. All right, jump. But yeah, I kind of want to stop by one of those little spring enemies so I can show you the homing attack on them, but oh. I wanted to get a higher jump off that. No big deal though. All right, nope. Oh, come on. I think I always get thrown off on that one in the original game as well. I don't know what that's about, but little areas where there's collision. And the original game has some bugs of its own, so, you know. Even though this is a fairly clean port of the game, fairly clean rebuild of the game, it's actually pretty bug-free outside of visual bugs. I'm sure that there's definitely some that people have found just through the hours of playing it, because I have to imagine there are people who have played a lot longer than I have. I'm not good at those. And who have probably found some bugs that I have not yet found. But basically everything I've seen has all been visual stuff. There is a bug with this zone's boss that I think is hilarious. There's two bugs with it, where if you like hit it, the screen like desyncs very briefly. That's easy enough to counteract that. Like it's easy to account for. But there's also a bug where these little rings that fly off after you defeat the boss. Yeah, you could see that screen kind of popped out of the way there for a moment. Oh, I just jumped right through that. That was interesting. Oh goodness. Get up there. There we go. Normally I could beat this boss pretty quickly too, but not today apparently. Alright, get ourselves some rings. Oh, nope, missed that. That was a terrible jump. Fine, it's fine, it's fine. Get here. Oh, one more hit I think, and then I should be good to go. Well, don't have any rings, so I'm trying to be a little cautious here. Don't have to be, it's one hit, so, you know. But yeah, you see how the rings float away? I love that. I know it's not supposed to be that way, they're supposed to kind of bounce along the ground, but I don't know what it is, but they ascend to heaven. It's just like, alright, this is a bug I want to keep. So funny. They like bounce once and then they're just like, goodbye, I must return to my home planet. Alright, so we got Ice Paradise, one of the ice levels. All three of the advanced games actually have ice levels, which is surprising to me. Because an ice level wasn't introduced to the original series until Sonic and Knuckles, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles, rather. Well, Sonic 3, I guess. You know, it was in the first half of the game. But it's wild to think it took them that long to get to something like that. Desert Theme as well was introduced in Sonic 3 and Knuckles 2, though it was planned for Sonic 2. But yeah, this game, the first one and the third one all have ice-themed zones. The third one's probably my favorite. I like the idea of this one, being that it's like ice-themed, but it's also a city at the same time. Just very pretty. And the music's very upbeat and fits the theme. It fits the aesthetic of the zone quite well, too. But yeah, there's just something very calming about specifically the music in Advance 3's ice level. But also, I knew that enemy was there. But also, the background is very pretty. It's got like the aurora and stuff. Unfortunately, in Advance 3, a lot of the backgrounds don't scroll as you run, which I find weird. I'm not sure the specific reason for that choice. Oh. Ew. Ew. Trying. I'm doing terrible. I'm not an expert. No! Alright, well I didn't get crushed. That's a plus. I've been crushed by that before in the original game and not just stabbed, so I don't know if that's a bug in the game or if that's a bug here, but I'll take it. Or maybe I'm just misremembering and never been crushed there, but I really feel like I have. There are definitely some cheap crusher block placements especially in 3. This one only really has like one. It's in Sky Canyon, but thankfully there's a way around it, so. But it's in such a small area that, I don't know, it's very hard to get past it, I guess. I don't know what to say. So yeah, really, really love it. And I'm actually I'm impartial, I guess, to the idea of Sky Canyon. I think that the way it's treated in the game is unfortunate because, yeah, it is definitely the zone with all of the holes in it, all of the bottomless pits, pretty much. And so it is also the only zone in the game where if you make a mistake towards the beginning of Act 1, you get forced into this area where you have to perform a trick. This game introduces tricks, but it never tells you that explicitly in the game. And so if you don't perform that trick at that area, you die. You just fall into a void and die. So if we get to that, I might try and show it off. But it's wild. There are rings in the shape of an arrow trying to point you upwards, so there is a visual cue. But if you've never used the tricks before, if you didn't know they were in the game, and since they're mapped to the R button, you know, since they were new here, I think it's fair to expect people not knowing that there were tricks introduced in this game the first time they played it. But yeah, for the game to punish you for a thing that, for all intents and purposes, you had no way of knowing about. Oh, neat. Extra life. Didn't know that was there. Never go this route, so, you know, might as well get rewarded for it. Alright. I do like the music, though, for this zone. Like I said, very upbeat. But yeah, I don't know what it is. Just like the ice zone in, specifically Sonic Advance 3 Zone 5 Act 3. The music in that one is really good. I love it quite a lot. I will say, for what it's worth, Advance 2 and Advance 3 both have phenomenal music pretty much throughout. Advance 1 is still good. If you like the music in that game, like, there's no reason that you wouldn't like it, right? It's just because it's, I guess, slower tempo. The whole game feels a little slower tempo than these games too. The run animation is a little bit clunkier in that one. There's some other things too, other little things. And so I think that the game overall doesn't age quite as well as this one or 3 for that matter. But it all depends, because if you're somebody that doesn't like all the bottomless pits, doesn't like the boost mode, doesn't like the weird enemy placement that this game has, yeah, then you probably will like Advance 3 or Advance 1 more. Some people, this is their least favorite in the series. Some people, this is their favorite in the Advance trilogy. So, you know, I get it. And I could definitely see both arguments. Me, it's right in the middle. It's my second favorite. I think Advance 1's my least favorite just because, again, it is probably the most derivative of the games. And I do like the idea of the egg rocket at the very end of it and how you have to, like, run against the clock, even though that level can really punish you in really dumb and unfair ways. That was a really bad backward slide there. I did not mean to do it, but it's fine. Get off there. No big deal. I'm terrible with this boss, but I'm doing okay today until I run directly into one of the missiles. Alright. Try and bounce off. Nope, missed that. That's fine. Ah! Lost all my momentum there. No big deal. Did want to mention, too, that this game does have support, at least in Windows, and I think Mac as well, for controller input. I think Linux, though, you might have to map controller input yourself or use a keyboard. At least that's something I've heard, but since I'm not running it directly on Linux, I don't know that. I did run into an issue with my DirectX, but that was a me problem, not the game. And it was just like I needed to just update it essentially. So, weird thing, like an old file that I had was corrupted on DirectX on my Windows 10, whatever. So, but yeah, I was able to just download it just fine, and it booted right up after I got everything finished. Alright, so you will see the visual bug for this level. It's obvious once you get into the level, right? That foreground clouds are kind of messed up at the top there. They repeat vertically when they're not probably supposed to, but alright, I said I was going to go down here so I could show you the area where you were required to do a trick, and this is the way to get to it. But yeah, it's actually very easy to still play this level and completely ignore. Alright, let's get to the trick area. Ugh, come on. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. No. Or just suck at the game, that's fine too. Alright, we'll do it again, no big deal. But we are probably going to stop after this one so I can go rest my voice. My voice hurts. I'll be alright. Alright, so let's get to the area. I do jump off that ramp because it actually throws you down here. The game actually punishes you for doing something it has arguably trained you to do. This game does a lot of that too. It tells you to do certain things and it punishes you later for doing the thing it's told you you need to do. It's like, what? Why? Oh no, I did it again. Oh, very stupid of me. Alright. But yeah, I still have 9 lives. Like I said, the game doesn't cap at 9. It's just visual. So, seems like it does, but not quite. Alright, get this bottom path. Come on. I do like, there are some gimmicks introduced in this level, though, that I do quite like. The little windmills. Not these ones. Those ones are actually really cool. And the way they work is fairly intuitive as well, which I greatly appreciate. Alright, we're going to run against this. And then, turn. Alright. So you see the arrow right here made of rings. If you do not do this upward trick right here, which you just do by pressing R and up on the D-pad, yeah, you die. you cannot. Oh, it's so goofy. And how the game, after not requiring you to do it anywhere else, requires you to do it there. I'm thankful that it's on the bottom path, so it's not, like, common. I guess we're going this way. But I did run into it a few times when I was playing the game myself, so at least, you know, when I was younger, not so good, and I spun off instead of doing an upward trick. Alright, so that is going to be it for this one. Once again, be sure to check this out. Link for the GitHub repository will be linked down in the description below. Also, be sure you're subscribed. Once again, it does greatly help out the channel. And of course, if you're somebody that wants to contribute to this project, check out the Discord. You can find that hopefully with a Google search, or it is on social media as well. The Discord is Sonic Advance Trilogy Research, I believe is what it's called. So you can check that one out. I was just asked to link the repository specifically. They did get a lot of members over there here recently, because of course this has received a little bit of notoriety. I hope Sega's taken note, and I hope they're taking note in a good way. These games deserve to be remembered. They don't deserve to be shut down. So really hire the team, honestly. And it's been a labor of love. So be respectful of them as well. If you cannot get it working on your own machine, just wait is the best option, or try to learn a little bit more about your specific machine and why it may or may not be working, what problem you may be running into. Do not be afraid to use Google, and you can still ask questions over on the Discord. They thankfully all been very respectful of people who have asked questions. And remember, with all the attention it's been getting, a lot of people are also asking questions too about downloading and things like that. So you definitely won't be the only one. Your problem probably has already been seen on the Discord, so you can give it a search there. Once again, like I said, you can also search on Google. I will see you all in the next one. Be sure to check out my Discord, link down in the description as well. Join me and 780 plus other members over there. You can also check out my Patreon if you want to help support the channel and get some perks. And of course, Instagram is down there as well. Yeah, I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.